I am Imane Berchane, co-founder of Robots and More, Morocco, and I'm very delighted today to have a conversation with three brilliant women who are operating in different sectors and who are doing their best to empower women in their communities. I would like to welcome Khalila, who is a founder of an initiative called Africa Ventures Unleashed, and as well as a country director of Girl Effect. Welcome. I would like to welcome as well Neira, who is working in the French landscape, but who is also a secretary general to an international organization called the Women in AI. Sorry. I would like also to welcome Shaimaa, who is based in the UK, but is also managing an initiative called and co-founded an initiative called the Women Cooperative, and who is doing her best to mentor women and to help them into the world of innovation. Thank you so much for joining us today for this conversation. I would like first to ask you, as women who are in such powerful positions and who have made it somehow to the top of your organizations, to talk to us about the challenges that you faced on the way. I would like to start with you, Khalila, if you would like.
Thank you so much. So some of the challenges that I faced, and so it's Unleashed Africa Social Ventures. It's a group of social enterprises. And the first one was overcoming perceptions. So you're young, you have an idea. I'm Tanzanian. You have an idea, great idea. It's very innovative. But then the perceptions that I came face to face with when I was starting out were really negative, as are the perceptions that we all face across the globe. But it was very straightforward in how it was presented to me. I was told over and over again, straight to my face, that you're young, you're African, and you dare not have a Caucasian husband, and you're female, so you're not going to succeed. You're not going to succeed in this space. So it took a while for me to find my voice, even though I did have it, but be able to exist outside of those perceptions. So in the very beginning, it was, okay, so that's what you think, but I'm going to prove you out otherwise. But one of the things that we know is when you are building something to prove people wrong, then you start moving from the identity and the uniqueness of what you're trying to build, because now you're building to prove something to other people rather than build from a space of realness and authenticity. So that's something I had to overcome. And two, the biggest thing for me, which I'm grappling with until now, is finding balance. People like to talk about work-life balance. I don't think that thing exists. I think there's balance within self, finding peace, and in that, what I mean is, how do I navigate or build a system that can allow me to be successful as a mother, but be successful which is, according to me, my priority, but be successful in building and giving to the world of what I have in terms of my talents. And then that all inculcates in finding my voice as I design, as I innovate, as I build my workspace, as I build my home front, but finding my voice as a person, that I'm first and foremost Khalila, before I'm all these things. So I think I'll come at it in that space, really overcoming perceptions, mine, but more so the world's perceptions towards me.
Thank you so much, Khalila, for sharing this vulnerability with us. I know that it's not very easy sometimes to talk about ourselves and the things that we had to overcome. What is your perspective on that, Neira?
My perspective, that's true. The same. I grew up in Algeria, came at 17 years old in France for my study. So I have also this label of an Algerian woman in France, which can be complicated. So I had to overcome all this perception, like a woman doesn't work in math, is not good in math. I started doing studies in mathematics and physics. So it was very difficult, and I went away from my identity and what I wanted to show to the world, and my uniqueness and my strength and my skills. It was kind of difficult, but I found a way to manage it through the years, and I found a way to do it by finding role models. And first, it was super difficult for me to find role models in a country and in a culture that I didn't know. So I had to fight for it, and to go through and to go to organization and to go to some event and to find who can help me and who can inspire me. And I found a way to do it, like, and encouraging all the women to do it. And this is for me like the way to, yeah, to go step by step. And I'm gonna share with you. You were talking about vulnerability, and I'm gonna share with you something really personal and that I faced like some years ago. I was harassed in my the corporate the company where we're working, which is sadly something that a lot of women experienced and will experience, unfortunately. And the first thing that I tried to do is to look for a model, to look for someone, woman, in my organization to help me. I tried to do, unfortunately, like the woman that I found was not able, like, to help me. But yeah, when I face a problem and challenge regarding my my identity as a woman and as a multicultural woman, I look for a model, and I encourage all women to do it.
Thank you for sharing that with us, and to step in also into the solutions of how you empowered yourself and how you found a way out of the situation and how you did not just stand as a victim, because a lot of times we see women as victims, but we also empower ourselves to take matters into our own hands and find a way out. Thank you so much for sharing. So Shaimaa, what can you tell us about the challenges that you faced?
So first of all, the first thing came to my mind when we established this foundation. Back in days, I've been raised in Egypt, in rural areas. And I was so passionate about education and get more in that kind of successful career and building myself. So I remember 2011, I got a scholarship from United States, which is rarely you can get it as a girl in Egypt. But unfortunately, like my mother was telling me, you cannot go because the local community will judge you as you are not going to be married again, or to be married in a way. I was not married at that time, sorry. So I was telling her, I don't care, I want to go. And we found a compromise that we need to go, I will go to the scholarship while she's going to hide that I'm already traveled. So instead of like traveling to United States, she said she is going to study in Cairo, the capital, which is still is being criticized as well. But from this point, you can just measure all my life about you have to hide that you want to have any achievements. When I started with this foundation, I was looking for girls in same situations in rural areas. They don't have the tools, they don't have the mentors to guide them through this process. And because I got the same kind of context, I was looking for how we can let the local community accepting that the girls can do something, and this something can be beneficial to the community as well as the boys. So we got some kind of programs to raise up, or giving the boys kind of like psychological training, how they can treat the girls as equally, or we can train the parents. They don't have they don't have to let the girls stay at home because they have to look after their siblings. They still can go to the school, and with a little support from them, they can be something. So I think because this is the main point in my life, I struggled when I was starting my journey. So I don't want any woman or any young girl to struggle in their lives. So I built all of this because of this concept.
Thank you so much for sharing that and for paying it forward. And that's something that I actually wanted to talk about next. You started talking about role models and how that helped you, get to where you are and help pave the way for you. And Shaimaa is doing the same way. It's the same thing for other girls. So how can you complement that? Like, what are the kinds of initiatives that you think are beneficial that help you, maybe on top of mentoring that could help other girls, but as well what you can do for the next generations to help them? be a part of the conversation.
So one of the things I have to mention, so I've got this, my status on my WhatsApp. I say my greatest investment in Africa is an investment in myself. And normally I say, if you see my company going through something, a hurdle, know that I have stalled in myself, in investment, in investing in myself. And I feel really strongly about this because when I started, let me not lie, I didn't have the skills. I probably did, but yeah, I did.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. It is alive and well here even. But there's a lot that I did not know about myself as a leader. I did not trust myself. And of course, when it comes to leaderships, people management, building a business, there's a lot I had no idea how to do. But I had the inkling. I had the insight. I had that innate talent to do this, but I started really developing myself. So that was very intentional. I literally, praise God for www. Right? Because I Googled as many professional development, person development programs I could find, fellowship programs, mindset development programs, trying to understand what are the mental models that were at play in my mind that were keeping me from elevating. Because the fact of the matter is we can talk about the system, we can talk about everything outward, but there are also mental models within ourselves that are keeping us from moving forward. Unless we are able to identify those, it's very hard to now mitigate and find ways to overcome them. So that was my first point, the first point of that I used to address myself, right? And then moving on, it was right now things that I do personally across the different spaces that I build. In our work with Girl Effect, it's really about how do we build safe spaces for women or young girls, adolescent girls, young women to find the confidence to now go through that journey themselves. Because I can say that even though I had so many hardships in even going through that journey, I was one of the privileged few. There's so many out there. If we're talking about women in leadership, there are many out there who are perhaps wondering, how are they doing this? My situation, my scenario doesn't allow me to even think in that direction. But then it is up to us to create those safe spaces that create that conducive environment that this can happen for young girls in our communities. So across the different spaces that I work in, one of the things that somebody pointed out to me at a point, we went to pitch for something with my company, and somebody asked, do you have to be a woman to work in your company? And then I realized there are 13 women on the team. And we all had natural hair. I'm like, that was not by design. That just happened. But then it was important to create spaces where people can speak up, people can self-express, people can question, people can dialogue without feeling repressed, and more so without feeling intimidated. That is a big one, without comparing themselves to. Those are spaces that we have to create. So even on top of role models, which we have different programs that do that, first and foremost, whatever we have to do is think about what safe spaces are we creating for women to come into their wholeness and manifest in self without now the hurdles of, this is not a safe space for me to fully exist.
Thank you for sharing that. And before we go to Neira, I specifically appreciate the fact that you talk about mechanisms that are outside but internal to us as well. I've never seen it this way. I see that you are a very powerful woman, and the fact that you are able to find within you these resources to look for an answer and to empower yourself, that is a very interesting perspective to see that we don't always need to depend on outside help. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
And just like following what you were saying, for me, like creating this safe space start in every interaction. You can create, like, we're just chatting. We can meet like someone, meet a woman, like I'm meeting you, just like creating a safe place between us, and like sharing our experiences. We become like maybe like a role model for each other. We don't need, like, there is something about like creating like real organization, safe place to help all young girls get the confidence, sharing with them role models. That's true. But I think that we can all be role models at our level in everyday life, at every moment. That's why, like, for me, it's very important to share even my like hardest experiences that I've been through, like the harassment that I had, like other experiences as everyone, because we have our journey. But like to when you meet someone, for me, like a woman, I'm like me, I'm aware of the girl that I have in front of me, the woman that I have in front of me, is struggling with her journey. So maybe just being a little empathic and trying to listen to her and sharing my experience can help her. So this is the safe place at the smallest level, every day, every hour, maybe every minute, like that we can create and help these young girls to get the confidence to say, yeah, I can do this. I can dream of it. I can.
Yes.
That's
It's extremely amazing and empowering that sometimes we are at positions of power where we are role models and we don't even know about that. There might be a girl that's looking up to us on the street or maybe in the office, and we don't even know that. And that's like, we have to act like role models. That puts a lot of pressure on us, but like that's also something that is amazing because that means that there is an availability of resources that girls can reach out to. Thank you so much for all that you have shared during this discussion. I have really liked the approach that we went from what is on the personal level to what is on the government and institutions and what we can do as civil society. And I believe that all of these efforts complement each other to allow us to shine as a gender and be awarded the place that we need to be awarded in our societies. Thank you so much for joining us. This was live at Kigali. Thank you so much for joining us in this conversation, and we hope to see you again. Thank you.